Look, this is the old classic Yamaha S80. What was really annoying before was that when I did one click, it did like something from 0 to 6, for example, or went from 0 to 3. It was really annoying, and sometimes it doesn't respond. But now, since I cleaned the contacts inside and remove all the grease, and now it's really responsive. And now you can go through every page of your presets. This is the left side, the bottom side of the S80, and we have to remove 3 screws here. 1, 2 and 3. Only 3 on the left side and 3 on the right side. And we need a cross screwdriver, and be sure that you have the right size, because you have thinner ones and thicker ones, and this is the PH2. When you have a thinner one and you have too much movement in the screw, you can damage the screw, so don't do that. Only use the right size screwdrivers for your screws. Okay, save your screws, don't lose them. And now we're gonna do the same thing on the right side. You have to know that the top case is going open from this side to the back side, like this way. And that's because there are some hinges on the bottom plate. So you can see them. Here is a hinge. There's one in the middle and on the right side also. You have to be sure that the black part has to be across this line, like this. Like this way. Otherwise you will not be able to open it, because the turning point is on this line, because the hinges are also on this line. So it has to be across this line of the stand. So be sure of that. Now be sure that you're placing the S80 close to the wall with a distance of around 15 or 20 centimeters maximum. That's because we are not gonna open it totally to the bottom, because otherwise you will damage your housing. And I want to lean this part against the wall. Be sure that you're protecting your wood. So before we're gonna open the case, we are pulling off the knobs. You take this, the sides of the case, and you just lift it up, put a pillow between the case and the wall, and do that on both sides of the Yamaha. We want to remove this print plate, because on this part there are the potentiometers we want to clean. The first time when I did it, I tried to remove this part without removing this part, but that's not working. So you have to remove this first. We have 4 screws here. So the next step is this print plate, and we have to be careful about the cables here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 10 screws here. This part where you put the cables together, it's connecting on the screw. This is the part where it goes about. When it's really tight, I will show you a little trick to remove this. We have to remove these cables, these plugs, and sometimes they are really stiff. So I'm using a flat screwdriver, a very thin one, and I just pull it, I just push it here between the white and the green part, and just a little bit moving, just try to separate it from each other. Don't force it, just a little bit, and then we can pull it off. I think this one is easier. So this is the important part we have to fix. Here we have the part to fix. It's the most left and the most right. It's a pulse potentiometer. So I will explain you what the difference is between the conventional potentiometers. A conventional potentiometer is like a regular volume knob on the amplifier or whatever. So a regular potentiometer has a 0 point. You cannot go further, and you have a maximum point. It goes about this one. This is a pulse potentiometer. That means this is a knob you can turn around and you feel small steps. Maybe you can hear it. And you get this turning around infinity, so there's no end and there's no begin. We have two knobs with a pulse potentiometer. One is the pages and one is the data. So the pages means when I do one click, it has to be skip one page in the display, because we have two rules display, and when you click one step, it's supposed to be skip one page on the display. But the problem was, in this case, was that when I did one click, sometimes it was skipping 2 or 3 pages. So now I will explain you and show you inside what the problem is. So I opened this before, I cleaned it already before, but I still want to reopen it again to show you how it works and how it looks like. One thing is really nice, because we are lucky, because this kind of potentiometers, we can just open it, because there are some metal parts here. We can just bend it to the outside carefully, not too much. I'm using a screwdriver, a flat one. Don't force it, just do it gently. And not too far, just enough as far as the edge of the housing. So we do the next also. Okay, so be careful, otherwise we will damage the contact pins here. This is the inside. So in this case right now it's clean. But the thing is that when I opened it for the first time, the whole contact plate was full of grease. When it was full of grease, so when I did one click, it was skipping more than one page, so maybe 2 or 3 pages sometimes in the time. But the grease causes this problem because it doesn't make good contact. You can clean it, use a cotton tip and just put it a little bit in alcohol and just clean this whole surface. We're gonna do the same also with the contact pins. Just make it wet with alcohol and just going from that direction to this direction, that way, and then lift it up, go back and then touch again and then go this way up, not in the opposite direction. So you do the same with this one also. You go from this side to that direction. I bought this silicone grease. It says about from -40 to plus 210 Celsius. So that's a safe area, so that means that it will stay on this place. So we're gonna put some grease only on the begin part of the axle, because that is the part which is touching the housing. We just take a little bit, try not to use too much. When you do too much, it comes also to the other side of the plate. So now we're gonna put it together. So everything is clean, and I think that only in that small hole here has to be a little bit grease, because the center here of this point is gonna in there. There's just a little tiny bit, and just be careful that you don't touch the contact pins. And now the trick is that to be sure that this one will be very tight, I just push the last part a little bit down first to make the angle a little bit tighter, and then you push this back to inside. Like this. And we do the same with the other side. So just push the top part a little bit down. And then go push this inwards, so like this. Because this part has to be touching on the top of the casing. But so Let's check. Okay, that's really tight. That's good. Okay, so and you will do the next thing with this one. So I think that the mistake that Yamaha made in the factory is that the guys put on too much grease in the center, and I think that's why it caused that all the grease was all around on the surface. Ah, shit. So there's not movement, so that's good. Now we are done, and now we have to put everything back together the same way as we took it apart. So everything is put together again, and now we can just start it up. And let's see. Look, this is the old classic Yamaha S80. Okay, now it's loading the external card. Let's see if we want to edit something. Wow, this looks really nice. It's really responsive, forward and backward. I see some pages which I never seen before. So like this one, I didn't recognize this one.